when I learned about mortgage investing, what I loved was that you can invest in real estate without having to own it and without having all of those responsibilities and headaches. And there is a downside protection because your investment is backed by a tangible asset, the real estate.
Hello, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, your reverse mortgage experts, and you found the Serving Seniors podcast. Now, that's not where we highlight those businesses and individuals that help seniors not just survive, but thrive in retirement. And today we have another one of those unique individuals. We have Mr. Fred Moskowitz. He's an educator, he's a best-selling author, and what Fred's done, he's actually trained countless investors from all walks of life on how to create passive income from alternative investments. So he'll share with you about his book and what all he's done. But Fred, we appreciate you being here and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt. It's great to be here.
Man, I appreciate you, sir. If you could fill us in, where are you coming from today? Where's home?
Yeah, I'm in Philadelphia, out on the East Coast.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, all the everybody from the Midwest and South will forgive you. We'll forgive you for that. You don't have the accent, but you travel a lot, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well,
yeah, there's a very characteristic Philadelphia accent that I can't describe how it is, but when you hear it, you know what it is. But I don't have it. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't speak with it. So I let people listen to me and try to figure out where I'm from. Usually people can recognize I'm from the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm sure that'll be you'll be more likely to speak Southern today since you don't have that Philadelphian accent. Well, we appreciate you on here. What I like to do, Fred, is a lot of people kind of want to know who they're hearing from and where they're from and what they got into, and maybe bring us up to speed what you've done in the past and what led you to helping people with alternative investments.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about my background. I came from a very long career working as a computer engineer in the tech industry.
Okay.
And what I learned was that it was so much a cyclical environment it's a wild roller coaster of ups and downs. And so I loved the work, I loved the technology, but I also learned firsthand that I was taking on this huge risk by relying on my paycheck as my only source of income.
Gee.
And so this is what inspired me to build alternative streams of income for myself, to really diversify. Because think about this, how risky is your paycheck, right? Everyone, there's a lot of risk there because we have inflation, layoffs, economic downturns. There's no such thing as having a steady, safe job anymore like there was for the previous generation. And so with that, I wanted diversification in my income sources. And that's why I turned to alternative investments. I heard this statistic recently that the average millionaires have an average of 7 different income streams, 7 different independent sources. And so if we're starting out having just one, well, what can we do to increase that? And with alternative investments, it's something that can generate cash flow so that you earn income while you wait. It's like being able to turn on a faucet of income stream. Other different investments can be good, other asset classes, but oftentimes you have to wait until you sell them in order to get paid any gains, any profits. And so that's the biggest distinction right there.
Okay, that makes sense. And then did you transition full-time from computer work into this? You still do computer work, or what's your day like?
Yeah, over the years it's been a combination of the two. And things change on depending on the market cycles. But right now, my main focus is working in the mortgage investment space.
Okay.
We call it note investing, where we go in the secondary market and buy mortgages and hold them for cash flow and income. And so it's a way, think of this, it's a way of investing in real estate without having to own and manage rental properties and manage repairs and tenants and deal with all of that. And so I've spoken with so many investors that they come to me and they say, hey, Fred, I love real estate. It's a real powerful investment, but I just don't have time. I don't have time to get involved with rental properties and managing them. And so investing in the mortgages can be a really compelling strategy. And that's what I focus on.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What, as you kind of walk through the different paths in investing, why did you choose? Why did you choose that one compared to individual stocks, and compared it to just buying an apartment building? Why did you really hone in on that?
Yeah, I started out with owning rentals, real estate, building up a portfolio, and then I realized that it's not easy to scale it, and it's a lot of work. It's very lucrative, but it is a lot of work. It's very hands-on, finding properties to buy and then managing them and repairs and doing renovations. So it's a lot of moving parts there. When I learned about mortgage investing, what I loved was that you can invest in real estate without having to own it and without having all of those responsibilities and headaches. And there is a downside protection because your investment is backed by a tangible asset, the real estate. And so these are homes, just like the homes that you and I live in, and we're able to invest all over the U.S., all over the country. So we're not limited to just our local market. And so that was very appealing to me because when I got into this business, I realized that this was something you could really grow into something big and scale it. So the ability to scale was very appealing to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's right. And then what about maybe could you explain to someone like, all right, I'm interested in this. Where do you start? What are the capital restraints and maybe the time constraints? Because you've mentioned several times it's not like renting a rental property, so a lot quicker as far as time goes. But what about capital as well?
Yeah, great questions. So to get started, to get involved, there's two approaches. You can be active as an investor where you're going out and buying mortgages and building a portfolio and managing it. That's the active investment. It's very hands-on and takes a lot of time. And then if you don't have a lot of time, you can go the passive route where you invest in a mortgage note fund that's professionally managed for you. And the fund managers, they raise capital from investors, and then they'll go out to the secondary market and buy notes in bulk quantity. And the benefit there is they can negotiate better discounts because you're buying in volume, and then manage the portfolio and then pay passive returns to investors. So that's a different approach. And neither one is right or wrong. It depends on your own individual needs, how much time you have, or how much time you want to dedicate to this, and what else you have going on in your life. And so it's a conversation I have often with investors that are starting out. The conversation around, do you want to be active or passive, and what does that look like, and which one is right for you? And as far as capital, that was the third part of your question. How much capital do you need? It really varies. Notes come in all sizes. There's some with small loan balances of just a few $1,000s, and then we can go all the way up into jumbo loan territory, right? Like over 800,000 and up, and then everything in between. So there's small, medium, large, and um, it comes down to how much capital do you want to dedicate to this. Um, that's the bottom line. And there's what I've come across a lot of times is people that might be selling off a rental property that they've had for many years with a lot of equity. They sell that off and then they want to redeploy that capital. Mortgage notes can be a great way to do that. Or someone that has a retirement account, maybe you have a 401k from a previous employer and you're moving that capital and you want to redeploy that, can be a great option. And so every person's situation is a little bit different, but you do have many different options and opportunities, and I love that.
That's awesome. So it sounds like if you do just buy one note, right, you may have, I'm guessing, a larger return, larger capital outlay, but also a higher risk, because if that goes belly up, you have a problem. But then you can invest less capital in a fund on average smaller returns, but you're probably going to have way less risk because it's diversified.
Absolutely. It's very diversified. When you invest in a note fund, your capital is being spread out over hundreds of notes or maybe thousands of notes, as opposed to one or two. Let's say you invested in one or two notes in your account and that's it. And so the diversification looks quite different there.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. What do you, based on your books and things that you've wrote, is there kind of a step process, an evolution where people can kind of work through to first learn about it, dip their toe in the water, and then eventually go all in?
Yeah, absolutely. So this industry is very relationship based. So I always encourage people to, you want to build relationships with folks that are reputable and knowledgeable and that can provide guidance. And certainly there's a number of books on the topic. I wrote a book about note investing. It's called The Little Green Book of Note Investing. Okay. You can find it on Amazon. And what I've done there was really provide a high-level overview about what note investing is, how to get started, talk about how to analyze and evaluate notes, or if you're going the passive investment route, how do you analyze a note fund? How do you evaluate that? What are some good questions to ask?
Okay.
And also have a couple of chapters, 2 chapters dedicated to how to invest in notes using a retirement account, using a IRA account or a 401k account, that you have some different strategies which are super powerful because of the tax benefits that come from working with retirement accounts. It's really powerful because any investment, when you have tax-free or tax-favored growth and compounding, that account will grow significantly more than if it was constantly subject to taxation.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if you were comparing and contrasting like a S&P 500 mutual fund and a note fund, it sounds like, is that the big advantage, is the tax advantages?
Well, the biggest advantage is, I would say, it's the constant cash flow and income, because when you invest in mortgage notes, you start to generate income right away, every month consistently. If you invest in stocks or stock fund, you don't really get paid anything along the way until you sell it. If the value went up, right? If there was appreciation, then you sell it and then you'll get paid there. But now you don't own the investment anymore. And so that's the biggest distinction. And it's not talking about which one is better. They're different. They're very different. For a lot of people, it makes sense to have a little of both types of assets. in your portfolio. Focus some on the growth and appreciation, and then focus another portion on income. And what I find is that as people get more closer to retirement age, they're more focused on income and capital preservation than appreciation and upside risk and those things. But each person's different, right? It comes down to what's your focus and what's important to you, what's your risk tolerance, and what's your timing.
Gotcha. Wow, that is a lot to think about, Fred. I'm sure you've piqued some people's interest. So if someone's watching this today, they wanted to interact with you more, I guess they could definitely get the book, which they would learn quite a bit from you. But also, too, is there a way to connect with you and follow you on what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I invite everyone to connect with me. Visit my website, which is fredmoskowitz.com. And if you prefer a little bit of an easier spelling, okay, I've got you covered. Go to giftfromfred.com. It'll take you right to my website. And once you're there, I have a special report about note investing that I've written, and I'd be happy to send that out. You just put your information in the boxes, and I'll send that out by email to you for free, no cost. And you can send a message to me as well through the website. I always love speaking with investors and building relationships. So I invite you, reach out, connect with me, and look forward to having a conversation with you. Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Fred, anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I always want to leave everyone with is this is something I'm really passionate about. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and so I want to encourage you to do the same. Always learn new things, learn new strategies and concepts, right? I always look to one of my heroes, Benjamin Franklin, who is a very famous Philadelphian. Yeah. And he left us with this wonderful quote that I'll share with everyone. He said that an investment in knowledge always pays the highest dividends. So always seek to learn and grow and expand your knowledge, expand your expertise. Never stop learning. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and I invite you to do the same as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. And that piggybacks along what we talk about is that there's some challenges in the past of reverse mortgages. There was issues years ago, but unfortunately, most people haven't taken the time, Fred, to learn the changes, the consumer protection, and what a reverse mortgage is in today's world. So we're on the same wavelength because we don't care if someone does a reverse mortgage or not. You don't care if they invest in notes or not, right? You just want them to learn that it's an option, that it's available, and how it could benefit them. So that's what we do is we just teach people there's ways to use your equity. You still own your house. You can still sell it. You can still give it to your kids, but you just don't have to be stuck with this huge payment if you don't want to. It just gives a flexible budget. So it works out great. But I love educating, and I love that's where your passion is, and that's what your heart's made up of, education.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Matt, for having me on. This was a wonderful conversation, and love being a part of your show. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching the Serving Seniors podcast, where I highlight businesses and individuals like Fred that help seniors thrive in retirement. Please make sure you share this with your friends, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again. We'll talk with you soon. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of Retirement Mortgage Solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniourspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older
that could use some extra cash flow. Maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like. Our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, and depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.